What's going on, my people? How we doing out there, YouTube? All right, and the far reaches of the internet and the interwebs. All right. So it's your boy Moose coming at you with another video, and you already know what I like to do here. If you are here and you've been here, but if you're new, uh, welcome to my channel. My name is Moose. Welcome to my humble abode. Make sure you take your shoes off because there's a comfortable space, and we like to be comfortable here. Okay, we ain't too uptight around here. But I wanted to discuss today in a video that was actually suggested to me, and I thought it was an interesting topic. So I'm just going to dive into it. Pretty much no other explanation is really necessary, but um, this is a topic that I think is on the forefront of a lot of people's tongues and on their minds right now, just because of what we're seeing and because of what social media projects. So, and yeah, like I was saying before, though, if you're new here, I like to go over kind of controversial topics and things that kind of make you think, and such as like conspiracies and political ongoings and uh, societal concerns and ongoings and just all types of craziness. But yeah, uh, if you like those kinds of things and you like think pieces and documentaries and long form videos of thought provoking conversation, then yeah, make sure you hit a like and subscribe. But without further ado, I'm just gonna hop right into it because I think this is a hot button issue and topic for a lot of people. So yeah, let's just jump right in. Why don't we?
Let's not beat around the bush. You've seen the clips, you've seen the statistics, the wanton disregard for public order, the absurd crime rates, fatherlessness, and the constant acts of self-sabotage. So why is Black America like that? Academics love to blame racism for any disparity between groups. It's their default excuse, designed to be an unfalsifiable, all-explaining ghost. So let's put it to the test. Because in this video, I'm not comparing Black Americans to other racial groups. Instead, I'm comparing the character of modern Black America to pre-civil rights Black America, a people which we can all agree suffered vastly more discrimination than modern Blacks. Let's start with the most obvious: crime. Around 1960, Black male homicide victimization, which works as
I just would like to say that the bucket of chicken right there on the man's podium is just it's just a chef's kiss, just a nice touch.
a proxy for offending rates, was already at a staggering 42 per 100,000. By 1970, after civil rights, that rate nearly doubled to 78 per 100,000. And today it rests at about 50 per 100,000. Still an increase from pre-civil rights time, despite the rest of the world going on a massive trend of decreasing crime rates. You might have heard the statistic that Black people, being only 13% of the population, commit more than half the crime. But it is actually worse than that. Because it's not Black people who are committing more than half the crime, but rather a specific subsection of them. Black grandmas aren't going around robbing stores at gunpoint. It's specifically young Black males. And when we further control for variables, we start reaching population groups which we can almost guarantee are committing crime. This has pushed some estimates for murder rates among certain Black male groups to be between 1 in 100 to 1 in 20, a rate of murder so unbelievably high it makes the entire Black Lives Matter movement look like a joke. With about 90% of those murder rates victimizing other Blacks, it was never racist white cops that need to hear about Black Lives Mattering, but rather the Black youth. So why are the Black youth so out of control? The next statistic I want to bring up is fatherlessness, which has a clear causal link with criminality. Despite Blacks in the 1940s suffering literal segregation and vastly higher poverty rates, their families were much stronger. Back then, only 15 to 19% of Black children were born to unmarried mothers. Today, that number is 70 to 78%. If you'd rather go by parental presence, today less than half of Black children grow up in a two-parent household, as opposed to pre-civil rights, at about 78% living with both parents. These are among the worst statistics for fatherlessness worldwide. But why has the black family been so thoroughly eviscerated? After civil rights, Democrats' strategy shifted to appeal to the expanding black voter base. And what do statists usually do for votes? They promise free stuff. The war on poverty, as it was called, had begun through massive federal welfare. But the welfare was conditional for those who, quote, needed it, and determined largely by whether or not a father was present. If a father was not present, single mothers could be eligible for welfare that exceeded how much money a low-income worker would get. In other words, the government directly incentivized black women to divorce their husbands and marry the state. The policy outcomes cannot be denied. All reversals of Black America's progress started during this period. The state, of course, had to justify the cost of this massive welfare scheme to the rest of the American population, claiming that it was the white man's burden. Historical injustice had created this poverty, and so it was white people's jobs to fix it. Since black fathers were now removed from the picture, black families lost their own protectors and providers. And so this became a permanent situation. Should we be surprised that young black men who grew up without a father live in a society that sabotaged the main source of commitment in a man's life, marriage, and are taught not to take responsibility for their own lives, and that all of their problems are white people's faults, that they would become disenfranchised and delinquent? Therefore, what we're left with today is a perpetual underclass, which abandon their families, murder their own brothers, and forsake the rule of law, kept financially afloat by guilt-tripping the same people they blame for all their problems. All our lives, we were taught to judge by the content of one's character, and the content of modern Black America's character is lacking. They can now serve only as an example for all other groups that wish to be the best version of themselves on what not to do.
Hello, my name is.
Yeah, that video was a lot there, man. And I'm just gonna end it like this: that a lot of those were true statistics, and I mean, you can paint a picture with those statistics, but you're not getting to the full story. So there's lots of black people and people who come from fatherless homes who do succeed and are well off and do go to college. It's just those stories aren't highlighted. And for every person, every black person who is out there doing ghetto things and engaging in crime and making themselves look bad because of how they're interacting with society, it just, like in that video, it does kind of reflect on the rest of us. But the majority of us, of black people, aren't out there committing crimes, and it's a very small percentage of black people that do this stuff. So I think the video, it can lead you, it can misconstrue you if you're not careful about how you read into those statistics. And I mean, yeah, it's very accurate as far as what he was talking about, but I don't think it gets to the real root of the matter. So yeah, I think that video was kind of lacking on some of that, but I mean, it was very direct. So take that as you will. I know that seems to be a hot button issue in this country. People talking about black fatigue or whatever that case is, but it's not real, because I've made videos on this before. You don't see this happening in most cities around America. Most cities are pretty as far as like peaceful, and crime rates, they're usually and the crime's not really rampant unless you're in like a major city and it's like a specific part of the city, and that's the one thing. It's not something that happens essentially, it doesn't happen widespread, is what I'm saying. And it makes it seem like if you look at these incidents online, you'll make it seem like it's happening a lot more than you think. But it's just because everyone has a cell phone. The world seems to be a lot smaller than it actually is because of this. So everyone's a journalist. Everyone is a camera guy. So take that as you will. But it doesn't mean you got to be scared of every black person you come in contact with. Okay? bottom line. But there's definitely some truth to it. And, there's definitely a lot of Black people who are in ghetto situations, and they are, um, let's just say that they're products of their environment, and their environment has not been good. And their environment is a product of the United States. And let's be real about, if we want to be real, we could talk about the CIA and get into conspiracies about the crack epidemic from the 1980s, about how they flooded the ghettos with guns, and they gave it to the gang leaders, and Freeway Ricky Ross talking about how the CIA. Yeah, we don't want to get into all that. They're trying to keep Black people down. So this is definitely propaganda, but there's definitely some good points into it. But make sure y'all do y'all research and don't get caught up in the BS. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.